Well, today we have a bunch of updates to a few stories that we've covered in the past, and we'll just go ahead and start with the one that we've been covering the most recently, the coronavirus. Okay, yeah, it's getting a hell of a lot worse, and the numbers related to illness, hospitalization, and death from the coronavirus outbreak, they keep stacking up. But again, we're not trying to freak anyone out because while this is it's very real, it's a very serious threat in China, it has yet to become any kind of significant outbreak here in the States and in a lot of other countries. I'm not saying that that makes it any better. We're just trying to keep everyone who watches the show, as calm as possible regarding the current severity of the outbreak.
Yeah. So, it does appear as though governments, organizations, and companies are attempting to do their best to keep things quarantined, as far as we can tell.
Yeah.
And that's good news considering the implications of a full-blown worldwide outbreak. One of the quarantines in particular just got a bit of good news, though, and it's probably a much-needed break from what they've been experiencing while under mandatory lockdown. Now, obviously, traveling internationally in tight quarters while being around lots of other people is a big risk right now. And nobody knows about this better than the people who are currently trapped on board the Diamond Princess and World Dream cruise ships, which are currently just sitting docked at ports in Hong Kong and Japan.
Now, these cruise ships have thousands of passengers on them, and they're all essentially stuck there while local health officials assess cases of the coronavirus and monitor the potential spread of the illness through the passengers on board. It sucks. It definitely really sucks.
Hey, buddy, how would you like that cruise trip that you're on to be
Forever.
Extended?
Yeah.
Oh, sounds great. What's the catch? No catch.
No catch at all.
You just cannot leave the boat.
I've seen the same damn performance of West Side Story at the boat theater too many times now.
Yeah.
It's time for something new, and luckily that happens. But yes, in some people's worlds, this would be a dream come true, being, oh no, I get stuck on a cruise ship.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, it's another monkey's paw situation. Yep. We honestly can't imagine how shitty it has to be trapped on board of something that has been turned into a floating quarantine zone with nothing to do but sit and wait and probably eat whatever leftovers the buffet has.
Yeah.
Now, for their part, the parent company, which is Carnival Cruise Lines, they've done the bare minimum by offering passengers a full refund for their ruined cruise.
Okay.
And you know what? That's better than I had anticipated because, call me cynical, I would have assumed they would have given them credit for another cruise.
Yeah, the cruise industry, not known for being
very gracious
charitable.
With their...
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause just imagine getting like a gift card for a future cruise.
Yeah.
Like, great, can't wait to do this again.
Mm-hmm.
So they're getting refunds. But there's one industry that's actually stepping up to the plate in order to provide relief to the trapped patrons' boredom and potential sexual frustrations, of which I'm sure there are many.
Yeah. Or it's a fuckfest.
Could be.
Look, if we're going to die, all I'm saying is we've got to go.
No,
what better place?
Like there's probably doctors on board that are like, do not have sex with anyone. That's only going to spread the virus faster.
If one of us has got it, we may as well all have it.
If all of us have it, we can all fuck.
Yeah, let's just get in the pile.
Sure.
I mean, look, it is a perfectly natural reaction for the people trapped on board these cruise ships to have, among a lot of other problems, some pent-up sexual frustration. Mm-hmm. And luckily, the Miami-based porn site Cam Soda is coming to the rescue because they've offered anyone trapped aboard either cruise ship a ton of free tokens to utilize on their porn site so that they can relieve themselves while on board. They are cracking open that bottle of Cam Soda and they are spraying it all over the ship.
You'd hate to see the person who has to clean all these toilets.
According to the Miami New Times, adult webcam site Cam Soda doesn't have a vaccine in the works for coronavirus, but it does claim to have a cure for boredom. And it's offering that remedy, free webcam sessions with porn stars, to the more than 7,300 passengers quarantined on 2 cruise ships outside of Hong Kong and Japan.
The article continues, quote, during the quarantine, most passengers are required to remain in their cabins with access to the rest of the ship and the outside world prohibited for the time being. So they can't even watch that production of Beauty and the Beast live down at the theater for the 5th time. Yeah. They actually, and cruise ship cabins, unless you're, flying high in the penthouse suite, not exactly a place that you want to be trapped in.
Yeah, a lot of times they don't even have windows.
No, yeah, all the ones that are facing inside absolutely do not.
Claustrophobic.
You have no idea what's happening. Sounds miserable. Anyways, the article continues. Crew members are delivering all of the passengers' meals. Now, in an attempt to lighten their mood and distract them from the dread of the next few days, Cam Soda wants to connect passengers with its cast of webcam models free of charge. A vice president of CamSoda, Darren Parker, said in a press release, quote, "In an effort to keep their minds off of the coronavirus and to help with the boredom, we're offering passengers and crews the ability to have fun in a safe and controlled environment with camming."
And the site has apparently instructed passengers to email a copy of their cruise ticket to a specific address, stranded@camsoda.com, then set up an account on the site, and then they'll be given 1,000 free tokens to use on their camming service however they choose. What is that equal to, $10?
I'm not sure. Maybe there's probably someone in the comments that utilizes cam sites that can give us a breakdown of the
how much are these tokens
the
worth?
exchange rate.
1,000 tokens sounds like a lot.
Well, so that's the thing. If you're a crafty person on board the ship, you could go around trading goods and services for more tokens to the cam site. You want to be the one that has the most tokens. Then you just divvy them out for cigarettes.
When the apocalypse comes, the CamSoda tokens are going to be the only currency
They're
left.
like bitcoins.
Anyway, they added that the webcam sessions can, quote, be sexual and sensual in nature, but don't have to be.
No, you can just have a friend.
They probably got a few of those mukbang streamers on there.
I'll eat whatever you want.
Look, I'm not trying to jack off. I'm just lonely.
I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
A lot of these people probably are pretty lonely and just want someone to talk to.
Twitch.tv. So basically, you can use this to jerk it, jill it, but you could also use it to just hang out non-sexually with someone that you can talk to from the outside world when texting or video chatting with your family has become too bothersome.
I would imagine that there are, not saying I would do this. I might, though. If I had a family member trapped on there and they were calling all the time, be like, all right, listen, you're quarantined. You're as safe as you just... leave me alone and go talk to a porn star.
Yeah.
Now, according to various sources, one of the cruise ships, which the offer was extended to, the World Dream, they have started allowing everyone to disembark after screenings. So I guess none of those passengers will be able to utilize this very nice offer. But everyone still stuck on that ship docked in Japan should absolutely pounce on this, even though it does, according to their rules, it breaks the rules of the ship's Wi-Fi. So I think they have lifted those restrictions under these circumstances.
Come on, Carnival Cruise Lines. Have a heart.
Yeah. It's not a Carnival with a little bit of porno. Now, I'm sure Carnival, they will, they have or should lifted the porn filter.
No.
Just let it slide.
Don't even announce it. Just, whoops.
Oh, something must have happened.
The filter turned.
Or use our ExpressVPN code to slip by real easy. Listen, people have needs. One of those needs is to fucking come, one way or another. And they might as well utilize this olive branch from the folks over at CamSoda. We salute them for letting people enjoy their services free of charge for the most part, until a civil war breaks out on the ship because someone's hoarding all the tokens.
Yeah.
Go get me some crab legs from the buffet.
Yes.
Give me a couple.
Those crab legs have gone rotten. They were only planned for a week.
Well.
Anyways, let's move on now to yet another ultra hyper fan Twitter submission blitz of a story because, ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We got him.
For like the 4th time or something at this point. But it looks like justice finally might get served because Jussie Smollett, a.k.a. the guy from Empire who faked a hate crime against himself, he just got indicted for faking a hate crime against himself.
We did it.
Yes, it looks like Jussie Smollett is no longer in the clear. The case against him that was dropped by State Attorney Kim Foxx has been brought back by Special Prosecutor Dan K. Webb, who has indicted Smollett on 6 counts for filing a false report, which it looks from all indications like that's exactly what he did.
Yes.
So yeah, probably worth pursuing.
And the best part about this prosecutor who is bringing it back, everybody loves a reboot.
Yeah.
So here we go again. Now, in case you need a very brief retelling of what happened about a year ago, here you go. But we promise to keep it actually brief this time. Jussie Smollett alleged that he was the victim of a hate crime from some dudes who may or may not have been wearing MAGA hats in Chicago. It turned out that he almost certainly hired the dudes who perpetrated the attack, and it was safely assumed that he'd orchestrated the whole thing in order to gain publicity and potentially get a pay raise from the producers of his show Empire. But also, the entire investigation was a clusterfuck. The case was dropped, and after months of investigations into why the investigation was such a mess, and why the original 16 counts of felony disorderly conduct were dropped in March of last year, the special prosecutor, along with a jury, decided that it was time for Smollet to, face some consequences.
We're bringing that shit back. In a statement, that prosecutor, Mr. Webb, said that he had, quote, now completed all of its investigative steps regarding Jussie Smollett and has made the decision to further prosecute Mr. Smollet, adding, quote, based on the recommendation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, a Cook County grand jury returned a 6-count indictment charging Jussie Smollett with making 4 separate false reports to Chicago Police Department officers related to his false claim that he was the victim of a hate crime, knowing that he was not the victim of a crime.
Mm-hmm.
So these new indictments are in addition to the civil lawsuit filed by the city of Chicago that Smollet was already facing, which would potentially force him to reimburse the city for the cost of investigating his allegedly totally fake attack.
Which was like $150,000.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
In response to the civil suit, Smollet countersued the city, but we haven't seen any hint of an outcome for that. But based on this recent development, we would assume that he doesn't have much of a case there or here or anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just take the L, dude.
Take the L.
Yeah. He could have been out with time served by now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, as of right now, there's not much else to report on. Smollet wasn't arrested as part of these new indictments, but he will have to appear in court to face these charges on February 24th. Mark your calendars.
Oh, baby.
So, in a little less than 2 weeks, we will have some more news on whether or not he'll actually face any real justice for being a lying asshole. But at the very least, it looks like this time they got him.
It's good to have a new court saga for the new year.
Yeah, and it's a reboot.
Yeah.
We love him. But over on the other end of the justice spectrum is Roger Stone, another character in our long history of reporting on terrible people. And in case you've forgotten, aside from being a total fucking weirdo who has a very eccentric fashion sense and a large tattoo of Richard Nixon's face on his back, Roger Stone is also a convicted felon who was arrested about a year ago and charged with obstruction, making false statements, and witness tampering, all of which stemmed from his involvement in the Mueller investigations into Russian influence in American elections.
Yeah, so sentencing was supposed to take place earlier this month, and just yesterday, prosecutors announced that they had requested Stone be sentenced for 7 to 9 years in prison for his crimes. I mean, seems fair.
Sure.
He's old, but he's still wily, and I don't trust him on the street, just free to conspire again.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's happened in the hours since this initial request, though, is actually fucking insane. So this is a story that's been developing all day, so honestly, we're just going to go read all the updates as they've been laid out in the most uniform fashion via Wikipedia, because the reporting of all this is completely scattered since it's being updated at such a rapid pace, and the story is still developing as we're reporting on it. So here you go. All links to actual reporting can be found in the description below.
Yeah.
Take it.
On February 10th, 2020, that's Monday, prosecutors requested that Stone be sentenced to 7 to 9 years in prison for his crimes. The next morning, Trump characterized the sentencing recommendations as, quote, a horrible and very unfair situation. Cannot allow this miscarriage of justice. Hours later, a senior Justice Department official said that the department would recommend a lighter sentence, adding that the decision had been made before Trump commented. Later that afternoon, all 4 of the assistant U.S. attorneys who were prosecuting the case, Jonathan Kravis, Aaron Zelinsky, Adam Jed, and Michael Morando, withdrew from the case, with Kravis resigning from the U.S. Attorney's Office altogether. After the 4 resigned, the Department of Justice filed a revised sentencing memorandum saying the initial recommendation could be, quote, considered excessive and unwarranted under the circumstances. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer sent a letter to the Justice Department Inspector General requesting a probe into the reduced sentencing recommendation over fears of potential improper political interference in the process. You think? Trump later said he had not asked the Justice Department to recommend a lighter sentence, but also asserted he had, quote, an absolute right to intervene.
Okay.
So, yes, to break that all down, Roger Stone gets convicted. He has to be sentenced. Initially, the people were like, okay, he should probably go to jail for 7 to 9 years based on the crimes that he committed.
I mean, that seems like pretty standard sentencing for what he did.
But then Trump pipes in. The Justice Department, which, reminder, Attorney General William Barr, they kind of decide that shouldn't be the case. The U.S. attorneys resign, and here we are.
Yeah, Trump, by the way, he's calling this an excessive sentence.
Yeah.
This is a man who, during the Central Park 5 case, was calling for the state of New York to bring back the death penalty. A couple years later, when DNA evidence exonerated the Central Park 5, Donald Trump said, "Nuh-uh, they did it,
yeah,
and they should be executed for it."
Yeah.
So fuck you.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up about excessive sentencing.
Yeah. I mean, this whole thing seems, I don't know, a bit suspicious. You know, weird that that everyone would just change their minds within a day.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you're a federal judge and you in the morning with breakfast, you're like, I'm feeling like 6 to 9 years. But then at lunch, you're like,
6 to 9,
I don't know.
How about 6 to 9 months?
I don't know. I think I actually kind of want to retire from this job forever.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, but that changing, that's one thing. Completely resigning, a little strange. But hey, who the fuck are we, right? We're just citizens who want a little bit of justice against people who are actively working against our country in order to line their pockets. Whatever. Listen, hey, you want to not talk about politics? We talk about the Oscars on our new exclusive podcast.
Yeah,
so,
it's Oscar time.
Well, it's not anymore.
Movie time.
It's over now.
Yeah, it's over now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a Patreon supporter or a YouTube member, you know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
And we also answer some of your questions. If you would like to sign up, it's just $5 a month on Patreon or YouTube, and you get access to all of our exclusive podcasts. We're at like 30?
It's a lot.
It's like 30 hours of content. So,
yeah, sometimes it's like 2 hours on one episode.
Yeah, like
crazy.
Once that happened. But yeah.
Anyways, head to our Patreon page by using the link in the description below. And then you can check, once you sign up, you can check the most recent posts. Thank you for supporting the show by doing that. Also, if you're on iOS, there might be a join button now. You press the join button and support the show that way. Otherwise, we will be back for a new episode of Tech News Day very soon. But in the meantime, watch our most recent episodes of News Dump and Weekly Weird News right over here. We'll be back soon. And yes, Phil's coming back.
Yeah. Very excited for Roger Stone's prison tattoos.
They're going to be great. I can't wait.